Good morning, all you people way down there on the 3rd floor. Is it going to be possible for you to all pay the building maintenance fee early this month? What maintenance fee? This is the first I've heard about a fee like that. Don't go pleading ignorance. Come on, you agreed to the rules when you moved into this building. We agreed to the rules, yes. I've got the contract in front of me, but it doesn't say anything about paying a building maintenance fee. It's an unwritten rule we all decided on. By we, I mean us residents living on the top floors. We decided the fee was necessary to maintain the good reputation of our building in this neighborhood. Everyone living on the bottom 3 floors is required to pay every month. You should set up an automatic payment so I don't have to ask every month. What the? That's ridiculous. All of you living down there at the bottom probably didn't get the memo, but it's common practice in such high-rise condominiums. I've never heard of such a thing, and I've got plenty of friends living in similar places all up and down the East Coast. They do. You just don't have much experience living in such a place. It explains why you were unaware of this kind of system. That may be so, but I can assure you other places don't have that kind of system. It's extortion. You can't just decide to collect money from people. The building administrator hasn't said anything. How long has this been going on? I only moved into the building last month, so this is the first time. And you've convinced everyone else? I find it hard to believe that they'd all agree. Some of the people living here moved in as soon as it was built. And what about those who are renting? You're effectively raising their rent. Yes, everyone else has agreed. They can clearly see the need for building maintenance, and they've all paid already. I find that hard to believe. Are you telling me old Mr. Wilson in 205 just agreed? He would argue the color of the sky just for the sake of having an argument. Mr. Wilson not only agreed, but he offered to go and bang on doors to help with the collection this month. In fact, you are the only one complaining about it. I bet they think it's for something else. Maybe everyone thinks it's just a one-off payment. You'll have a lot of convincing to do if you expect to make it a regular monthly payment. If you refuse to pay, then you'll have to vacate the building. What right do you have to kick me out of this building? You yourself just moved in last month, you said. What right? I certainly have a lot more rights than those of you living way down on the 3rd floor. Oh, and you'll have to stop using the elevator. And now you're banning the use of the elevator? Who do you think you are? You can't just do what you want. Go on, humor me. Why am I not allowed to use the elevator? This should be good. Okay, I'll lay it out nice and simply for you so there aren't any misunderstandings. It goes without saying that the people living on the top floors are wealthy. They paid more for their condo, or they are paying much higher rent. It also goes without saying that they are extremely important and busy people. They are busy running companies or doing open heart surgery. They aren't doing menial and pointless jobs like those of you down on the lower floors. People up here are saving lives and making decisions that decide the future course of the country. So we need to be able to make use of the elevator unmolested by you commoners down there. That doesn't make any sense. Sounds like you're just trying to boss everyone around. Who died and made you king? Oh dear. I guess to someone just barely making ends meet like you, the lives of us way up on the top floors must be the subject of a lot of jealousy. I wish I could do something about it, but my hands are tied. Wow, such delusions of grandeur. This is a serious case. You need to get help. Anyway, you can do what you like, but I won't stop using the elevator. Your place is only 3 floors up. You'd use the elevator to go up 3 measly floors and inconvenience all the people wanting to use it? Typical poor people. Always wanting something for nothing. Always with your hand out. You probably sit around all day doing nothing. The exercise will do you good. No, in fact, if you must know, I'm pregnant. I'll be using the elevator for the safety of my baby. How would you feel if I slipped on the stairs and lost the baby? It would be your fault. Oh, so you lie about all day, complaining about how life is so unfair, and as soon as you get pregnant, you become all high and mighty? Shall we roll out the red carpet from the parking lot to your front door? You know nothing about me. How can you make such sweeping assumptions about me? I've seen you walking from the entrance to your cheap old car. That's all I need to know. And your husband looks just as bad. Really low level. But you probably suit each other. A bottom-dwelling couple. You've really tried to make a big leap up in status, haven't you? Moving into such an expensive building. Even down at your level, it must have broken the bank, no? You guys are adorable. Well, if you've seen me, you would have noticed I was pregnant. No? Pregnant or not, people living on the lower floors are forbidden from using the elevator. It's the courteous thing to do, not to mention common sense. Only those of us living on the upper floors have permission to use it. You really are a nasty piece of work, aren't you? I'll remember this. Oh, the poor little dog is barking at me.
Hey, Naomi. It's true. I asked a few of the other residents, and that horrible woman has been collecting fees from people. Some paid and some flat out refused. So she was lying when she told you you were the only one questioning it.
I knew it! But why would the others just cough up money? Whichever way you look at it, she's just demanding money that we've never had to pay in the past.
She told everyone that there was a meeting with the owner.
Well, you're the owner. So it was your idea to make everyone on the third floor and below pay an additional fee, was it?
Yeah, right. Do you think I'd go and do something like that? I'm as angry about this as you. She's made it all up. I spoke to a few members of the residence committee and they were livid.
So, what are you going to do?
I'm going to kick her out. I'll need to find out who is paid and compensate them. That's going to be a headache. There are over 200 families in this building. I wonder if she gave them receipts.
That will give her the wake-up call she deserves. Hey, do you think she's done this before at other places? I might do a little digging.
Maybe. She probably doesn't realize it yet, but she's made enemies of a lot of people. I'll also try and speak with her husband. Apparently, he's on the board of a big energy company, so hopefully he'll be able to view this objectively. God, I hope he's not the one egging her on.
Yeah, I'd be careful. He might be worse than her. Some of those executive types can be pretty cutthroat.
I met them both in passing the other day. They both seemed really nice. Very polite. She probably just acts that way in front of her husband.
That doesn't sound like her. She's an ogre to people when she's texting them. Well, to me anyway. I'll send you screenshots of the text now. She has got absolutely zero sympathy for me in my state.
I'm willing to bet she hasn't told her husband about collecting maintenance fees. Strange. You'd think with a job like his, she wouldn't need to demand money from people. Maybe she just wants to lord it over people? A bit of a megalomaniac.
Maybe he doesn't let her have access to any money? Hey, maybe she's a gambling addict and needs the extra cash to pay mob debts.
I suppose anything is possible. But I'll talk to him. The imagination is an amazing thing if you let it run wild. Best to just get the full story from the source. Oh, I just read that back and forth with her you sent. Jeez, she's got it in for you. She sounds like a horribly exaggerated woman from one of those Real Housewives reality shows.
Yeah, but they actually exist in real life too. I hope you can put her in her place. I've only been back in the country for a couple of months, and this is the welcome I get from my fellow Americans. Talk about reverse culture shock. I hope it goes well with her husband.
Leave it to me. I feel bad. I didn't really think too much about the implications of living on the third floor. I just thought we'd be up high enough to be out of the prying eyes of people at street level, but not too high up that we couldn't get out quickly down the stairs if we needed to. We could have moved into an opening on the 30th floor, but I thought the convenience of the third floor would outweigh the view. With the baby coming soon, I didn't want you to be stranded in the lobby area waiting for an elevator forever. And when the kid is old, he or she can walk up the stairs to our place after school. Then suddenly we become victims of this bizarre discrimination. What would you call it? Heidism? Right. Anyway, sorry you had to be drawn into this. I'll sort it out, I promise.
It's so ridiculous. I don't need the extra stress. It's hard enough with the baby kicking like a champion and keeping me awake most nights. What the hell does it matter what floor you live on anyway? She's probably just a bored housewife with an elitist complex. I wonder if she has ever done a day of work in her life. Just shows that she lacks humanity. Probably doesn't have any friends.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, Naomi, what's the meaning of that notice on my door? It says my condo is up for rent. We live there. Explain yourself.
What? Why are you asking me?
Don't pretend to be innocent. I know it was you. You were loitering around my floor, no doubt. And the lock has been changed. What is going on?
Oh dear. It would seem that you are no longer welcome in this building.
Who gave you the right to decide such a thing? If you don't fix this immediately, I'm calling the police.
Really? Well, if you think you'll get anywhere, go ahead.
You really think I won't? Don't test me. I'll have you know my husband is on the board of one of the biggest corporations in this city. He's next in line to be the president. Do you really want to make enemies out of him and his wife? You don't know what you're getting yourself into.
No. Michael Monroe? Of Black River Industries? Of course I know who he is. I read an article about him in a business magazine.
Yes. And you dare to pick a fight with someone like him? You've got a lot of nerve. We will bury you in legal fees and court appearances. You know what? I've had enough of you and your little games. I'm calling my husband right now. Your days are numbered.
Go right ahead. Although...
Yes? What is it? Spit it out. Your last words.
Well, I think it only fair to warn you that it was your husband who made the decision to kick you out of the building. Not me.
What on earth are you talking about?
Yeah, I told him you were illegally demanding money from people on the lower floors as some kind of maintenance just for poor people. That's what you said it was, right? He was absolutely mad with rage. Oh, so you obviously haven't seen him today, have you? I'd steer clear of him for a while. He's furious.
How dare you spout such garbage at me? He may be a lazy good-for-nothing bottom dweller, but your imagination is certainly working at full speed. What a load of nonsense.
Nonsense?
I have not been demanding money illegally. I was merely acting on the instructions of the owner.
The owner? Really?
Yes. He told me he was thinking of making some improvements in order to increase the comfort of the residents and also raise the value of the building itself. But all these things cost a lot of money. I was in full agreement and took it upon myself to start collecting the money needed for such a renovation.
So tell your husband that. See what he says. Tell him your attempt to extort money from me and the other bottom dwellers was on the orders of the owner.
I don't need you telling me what to do. I'll tell my husband exactly that. He'll unleash hell on you and your family when I tell him how you've spread fake news and spurious accusations about me. This is an open and shut case of defamation of character. I won't stand for it. I'll see that you face the full consequences of your deceitful actions.
Fine. Hurry up and call him already. Let me know what he says.
I'm calling him right now. Just you wait. He won't get away with this. He'll be sorry. Mark my words. I've been informed that your husband is the owner of this building.
Oh, is that what your husband said? It must have come as a bit of a shock.
How are you taking it?
But you're right. My husband is indeed the owner of this building. From the low-life scum on the bottom floors to the wealthy and extremely important on the top floors.
That can't be right. I heard that the owner had emigrated and was no longer in the country. I thought the housing company was dealing with the maintenance.
That was the plan originally. I was happily planning to raise our kids where we were, but things happened and we ended up moving back to the good old US of A. It's good to be home and feel that neighborly love.
Don't mock me!
You've just admitted that you thought the owner was living abroad. You used his name without permission to try and make some free money for yourself. And I've got all the evidence I need in this WhatsApp conversation. Not as smart as you think, are you? You really are a piece of work. It's no wonder your husband hit the roof. He won't be able to show his face in the building.
This isn't happening! You!
What did your husband say? Did he take your side? Did he call his army of lawyers and swing into action?
Should I be worried? He won't listen to a word I say. He just said to get out. He'll send my things when I have a new address.
If that's what he says, then that's what you should do. Pack up and get out. What did you say about his lawyers? Something about unleashing hell? I wouldn't want to face that. I'd make myself scarce. And Cynthia? I asked around a bit about you.
A friend of a friend lives in the building you used to live in. He says you caused a hell of a problem for the residents there, too. If I were your husband, I'd kick you out, too. He's relatively well known, especially in this city. Sounds like he's run out of patience with you rustling feathers everywhere you go. Do you think I'd have any chance in court against him? How would I know? Does he have a history of domestic violence? Anything like that? But I'll tell you this for free. There ain't no one that's going to stand up for a woman who extorts money from other residents so she can blow it on gambling and toy boys. That alone is enough to see you go to prison. How do you know about that? So it's true? Wow, that was an easy confession. I was only throwing out wild theories to see what would make you bite. Damn, that was easy. You know me and my wild imagination. But this time I was bang on the money. Geez, Cynthia. I figured you for an absolute monster of a woman, but I didn't think I would be right. You really are a piece of human garbage. So you were just setting me up to get me to confess? You weasel of a woman! I'd rather be a weasel than a monster. I had nothing to lose. I wondered why the wife of a rich business executive would need to try and force people to give her money. I imagined a few different scenarios, even a few where you were the victim. But there's no helping you. You are going down. He'll take you to the cleaners. Woman to woman, though, and I shouldn't be saying this, but if I were you, I'd take what I could get my hands on and run for the hills. Try and start again somewhere. I can't take anything! I can't even get into the condo. The locks are changed and the windows are all barred. This is all your fault! If you'd just kept your mouth shut, none of this would have happened. Me? How the hell can this be my fault? I didn't know your damn husband was the owner, did I? Had I known, I would have left you alone and you'd have been none the wiser. What's the point? He would have been found out eventually. Someone would have come to my husband and complained. You can't just create a fake fee and suddenly expect people to pay it without raising suspicion. And you had better make sure you pay everyone back when you apologize. This is all you're doing. I've done nothing wrong. You've twisted it to make me look like the bad guy. Stop with the poor me, boo-hoo, sob story. You most certainly are not the victim here, and you know it. Or if you really don't see that, you need more than a lawyer to help you. I'd go for pills and a straitjacket. You just stay right where you are. I'm going to your place right now to teach you a lesson. Cut that out, Cynthia. You'd come down here to physically threaten a pregnant woman? I won't open the door whatever happens. In fact, I don't feel safe with such an unhinged woman on the loose in the building. I'm going to call the police. You just wait right there, you piece of trash. Cynthia, I've called the police and they're on the way. Just give up and go back upstairs to wait for your husband. The damage you've done to the door will cost a lot to fix. You're just adding willful damage to extortion and whatever else you've done that's about to catch up with you. You shut your damn mouth, you horrible woman! This is entirely your fault! Get out here, now! Come out and face me! Hey, Cynthia. The cops have just pulled up downstairs. This is the 3rd floor, so they'll be up in no time. Shouldn't you hightail it out of here? I'll make you pay for this! Every last one of you! Remember this! I'll be back! Whatever. Just get out of here. Oh, and hey! Criminals don't have permission to use the elevator! After that, Cynthia was arrested and hauled away by the police. Although she somehow managed to avoid a prison term, she was given a suspended sentence and made to pay hefty legal fees. She also had to make regular payments to the building residents she had coerced money out of. Of course, her husband divorced her. She lost custody of her children as well. She lost all her possessions and every last friend and family member who had stood by her the last few times she had gotten in trouble. I guess there is a limit, even for family. Her parents, worried that she might hurt herself and others, decided to take her back to their place in the country. Apparently, she's living a heavily sedated but harmless existence in the countryside and seeing a psychiatrist a few times a week. As soon as she left the building, it went back to how it was before. The money for the maintenance fee was returned, and everyone is allowed to use the elevator. The biggest source of friction went back to being old Mr. Wilson in room 205, stopping residents in the lobby and lecturing anyone who'll listen about the evils of modern society.